I just found the phone number to the deadliest hotel in Los Angeles, and this is why you should never call it. If this building looks familiar, you might recognize it from the series now streaming on Netflix, Crime Scene: The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel, which details its dark history. During the 60s, there were at least 6 people who took their own life and countless murders that occurred in the hotel. And a satanic serial killer named Richard Ramirez lived there during his murder spree in 1985. Also, an Austrian serial killer named Jack Unterweger lived at the hotel in 1991, where he sought to copy the exact same crimes as Ramirez. The most notable of these strange events is the case of Elisa Lam, who went missing after checking into the hotel in 2013, making her the most recent victim in the Cecil Hotel's history. And while all this may sound horrifying, you guys know me, let's call that number.
The front desk of downtown Los Angeles' deadliest hotel.
Here are some creepy Polaroid photos that a girl found on the ground while walking home from school. There were apparently about 20 photos bundled up with a rubber band, and so out of curiosity, she started looking through them as she walked the rest of the way home. The first image depicts the vague shape of a pale-skinned man against a dark forest background. The second photo apparently shows the man but slightly closer to the unknown photographer, and each photo showed the man slowly getting closer and closer to the camera. In this image, the man's face was suddenly much closer. His expression was the purest embodiment of evil the girl had ever seen. Then she had one last photo in her hands. When she peered down at it, the man was not visible in this photo. Instead, there were scrawled just 2 words in a bloody red smear. The girl's brother apparently heard her screaming outside of his door. When he ran out, his sister was gone. All that he found was a stack of Polaroid pictures on the porch. And upon closer inspection, it seemed the girl in the photos looked exactly like his sister.
Disturbing things that you should never look up on Google. 16-year-old Daniel Petrie and 12-year-old Gabriel Kuhn were 2 friends from Brazil who were both fans of an online role-playing game called Tibia. But on July 23, 2007, after Gabriel borrowed some in-game money from Daniel but was unable to pay it back, Daniel became absolutely furious. He stormed into Gabriel's room and proceeded to attack and rape him. After that, he strangled Gabriel with a wire until he fainted and went on to cut off his legs with a hacksaw. Gabriel regained consciousness and screamed in pain, but Daniel just kept cutting. The autopsy revealed that Gabriel was alive while his legs were being cut off, but soon died after due to blood loss and pain. Daniel was later sent off to a juvenile offender and served just 3 years in prison.
In 1912, the Moore family and 2 of their guests were headed home after a children's ministry service at their church. They went to bed around 10 p.m., and at 7 a.m. the next morning, their next-door neighbor stopped by and knocked on their door. After no response, she called the homeowner's brother, who had a copy of their key. That's when he saw the entire Moore family and their 2 guests dead inside of the home. Sarah and Josiah Moore, along with their children, parents, and 2 guests, were all killed with an axe. Josiah was struck with the axe more than anybody else and had so many blows to his face that his eyes were missing. During the investigation, police found 2 cigarettes in the attic of the home, leading them to believe that the killer waited for them to fall asleep before attacking. It's thought that every victim was asleep while they were attacked except for one of the guests named Lena. She had defensive wounds on her arms, and her undergarments were removed, leading police to believe that the killer tried to sexually assault her before he murdered her. Go check out part 2.
Can you tell me what color that balloon is? Purple! Purple! Holy crap.
Today we explored an abandoned prison. You won't believe what we found inside. First we walked down the cell row, but this is where things took a turn for the worse. Pretty sure this is blood.
That whole room is splattered with blood.
What is that?
Yo! We're getting out of here. That looked like a body.
Have you ever wondered what the hell grave hunting is? Well, good, because I'm going to tell ya. The very general definition would be the act of visiting graveyards by people who have an interest in them, or an interest in graves, period, also known as a taphophile. For me, grave hunting refers to my work as a historical researcher, where I'm usually looking for a specific person's grave, historical in nature, or a long forgotten graveyard, and there are a lot of lost graveyards. Honestly, there's a lot of mysteries out there.
These are some of the most gruesome murders ever committed. Part 1. The case of Lisa Montgomery, otherwise known as the Womb Raider. Lisa Montgomery, who was a 43-year-old woman, was the first lady ever to be executed after being sentenced to 67 years in prison for committing a murder that literally shocked America. In 2004, Montgomery was sentenced to life after murdering a young woman named Bobby Jo Sinnett and then moving on to cutting open her stomach, removing her womb and her baby using a kitchen knife. See, Montgomery had claimed for a long time that she couldn't have kids, so she befriended Sinnett thinking that she could take her baby. So what she did was showed up at her house, strangled her with a rope, and proceeded to cut her open. The dead body was actually discovered by Sinnett's mother, who walked into a bloody pile and claimed her daughter looked like she had just exploded. But even after all that, the baby did survive and was returned to her father, where she is now about to turn 16 years old. That's insane.
This is why you never judge a book by its cover. On the evening of August 7th, 1985, police received a call about a mentally ill woman attacking her family with a gun. When police arrived at her residence, they didn't hear any shooting or hear any noises coming from inside the house. Police tried yelling for the shooter to come outside, but when she didn't listen, they went in. Inside was a massacre. All 5 family members have been killed, including 2 young children. One of the deceased was Sheila Bamber, the mentally ill woman the police have been called about, and she was holding a rifle that was tucked up against her neck with a gunshot wound underneath her chin. This case gained massive media attention, putting pressure on the police to solve it as quickly as possible, and so they jumped to the conclusion that this had to be a murder-suicide perpetrated by Sheila. But one detective felt like they were missing something and kept investigating. And sure enough, he found something hidden under the stairs at the crime scene that meant Sheila could not be the shooter. To find out what's under the stairs and who the shooter is, check out The Murders at White House Farm on HBO Max. The link to it is in my bio. It's awesome.
Oh my God, I just heard Eliza. Oh my God. Eliza? Why do you sound like that? What? Walking? Oh my God, I'm panicking. I do hear you. Oh my God, I just heard hear me. I got the chills. How did you die? Camping? What? Say it again. How did you die? Fell off the chimney. Oh my God. Fell off the chimney. Did you hit a roof when you fell?
He's been in there a while, huh?
Why am I leaving? Is that what you just said? Because I'm scared, that's why.
I do not respect you.
People have gone in there plenty of times and nothing has happened, but the people who have chosen to mess with her didn't end that well for them.
Again, I'm checking this meter all over. Oh, go up by the cross, we get a little reading. Maybe that's our pal JC. I don't know if he just hangs out in every cross in the world, or if he's split among them like a Horcrux. But good to see him. That feels like some positive energy. Is he going to show up in the Conjuring cinematic universe at some point to fight you? Singe my flesh, scratch me up, make me bleed. Can you make me go blind? Oh, look, I'm seeing some action on the flashlight over here. Was that you? If that was you, why don't you turn it off for me? Oh, now you're turning this one on. Okay, so we're getting double flashlight action. That's all.
18-year-old Kevin Davis got into an argument with his mother, Kimberly Hill, when he had asked for permission to kill himself. When she got upset, he then decided to kill her instead. He tried to strangle her, but he could not overpower her, so instead he beat her in the head with a hammer. Kimberly was still alive, so Kevin reached his hand into her skull and squeezed her brains to finish her off. He then lost his virginity to his mother's corpse. He fled the house after the incident and confessed to a couple who then called the police. Kevin confessed to police and was sentenced to life in prison. When asked why he did it, he replied that his mother was the best and she did nothing to deserve it. Quote, "I don't have standards, I don't have morals, a body is a body, a piece of meat."
Welcome to the Haunted Theater on the Queen Mary. This is a very, very spooky place. Many people have claimed to see full-bodied apparitions in here, witnessed boxes and chairs move from where they're sitting, and have even heard the voices of the dead speaking to them. I personally know the magician Aidan Sinclair, who performs here almost every night when, coronavirus isn't happening. And he told me about these black mirrors that supposedly reflect energy back into the room. It's a very, very occultish setup in this room. So if there was going to be paranormal activity on the ship, they would be here amongst the black mirrors and the weird dresses. He even told me about items that have disappeared and then reappeared. What do you think is causing this?
This video is in response to people who said they saw Satan flash at the Super Bowl halftime show. I did my homework, I did not find that, but I did find in 2017 at the Copenhagen Royal Arena, I found this. Pay attention right quick to the background. Did you see it? Let me help you out real quick. We're going to slow it down to 1/4 speed. Now watch. See it? Watch again. It's hidden in plain sight. There it is.
A murdered woman has been unidentified in Rahway, New Jersey for 130 years. On March 26, 1887, Alfred Thomas and Irving Worth thought they found a discarded coat, but got closer and found a brunette, blue-eyed woman who had her throat slashed and face beaten. She wore a dark green dress and had been carrying a wicker basket of eggs. Before police arrived, hundreds crowded looking for evidence. 2 men approached police with finds: a black bag found in the river by the Jefferson Avenue Bridge and a bloodied knife. Despite hundreds gawking at the woman, they soon found that nobody recognized her. Her body was displayed at Rhino's funeral home where 7,000 people showed up. Her burial consisted of 6 reporters as pallbearers and 2 women who argued over the identity of the victim, each claiming she was a different woman. To this day, she rests under a headstone that reads, "Unknown Woman."
Tonight we are investigating this old, abandoned, and extremely haunted hospital. Look at this old wheelchair. This hallway just gives me chills. People that have investigated this hospital before have said that they've heard entire conversations being held. They've heard screaming, children talking. You wonder why people hear children? Look at this old crib. Down here, there's something else I want to show you. Look at this old room just filled with toys and dolls. There's a labor room here and a delivery room right here, which, that is horrific. We've already heard and seen some creepy things over here, but if you like spooky, stay tuned because you're going to get a lot of it.